Namaste, welcome to my channel, yogis. My name is Kassandra, and today I'm going to take you through a full body flexibility flow. So we're going to start sitting up in a way that is comfortable for your hips and for your lower back, and really feel your shoulders roll up and down. So sliding the shoulder blades down your back. And if this makes your chest puff forward a little bit, just draw the floating ribs down. So a nice tall seat. Close your eyes, soften your shoulders down and away from your ears. And start to take some cleansing breaths in and out through your nose. So we'll try to target all areas of the body in this practice. And we'll begin right away with the neck. So all you're going to do is inhale as you are. And as you exhale, drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. Inhale, coming back through the center. And then exhale, tipping to the other side. And keep going in and out at your own rhythm. Just noticing how one side of your neck feels compared to the other. And try not to move your shoulders or your upper back as you do this. Take one more on each side. And the next time you come all the way back to center, we're going to once more drop the ear towards the shoulder, and this time make a little half circle. Chin to chest, all the way up, and to the other side. And you might lean your head back slightly as you lift. One more on each side. And coming all the way back through to center as you inhale, open up your arms wide. And on the exhale, reach your arms forward, round and contract. Inhale, spreading through your wings. Exhale, round it in. So like a seated cat and cow, trying to stretch into your chest as well as into your upper back. Matching breath with movement. Take one more here. And coming back to neutral, side bend. And we're gonna do both sides, so don't worry about which one you're doing first. Try to lift and lengthen and go all the way over, switching sides. Try to keep both sit bones on the floor so you're not lifting off the mat. And one more, left hand down, right arm up. Maybe bending into that elbow, maybe even getting the elbow to the floor. And last one. Big side body stretch. And coming back through to center, let's find tabletop pose on hands and knees. So I'm going to use this as an opportunity to stretch into my wrists a little bit. So instead of having my fingers pointing forward towards the top of the mat, like what we would normally do in cat and cow, I'm going to rotate so that my fingers are pointing towards my knees. So stretching quite deeply into the wrists and forearms. If it's too much, leave this out. Just cat and cow, inhale, drop the belly, lift, exhale, contract, round it in. Take 3 more here, flowing with your breath, pushing into fingertips and knuckles. Try to really open up through your chest. And coming all the way back, bring your hands to face forward once more, and now walk your palms, puppy pose, stretch. Melt your forehead and your chest down towards the mat. Draw your lower belly in and feel that expansion through your shoulders, through your upper back, the top parts of your spine. This is a wonderful pose to build up flexibility and to get deeper into back bends. And staying for a few more breaths here, just press your hands together, bend your elbows, and bring your thumbs towards the back of your neck, back of your head. So this flexibility flow is really going to take you through a sequence that I tend to do most of the time. So these are like my favorite stretches, my favorite yoga poses, and a typical at-home practice for me. And straighten your arms. Let's transition into Sphinx pose. So let your hips come down to the floor. Lift up through your chest and really pull your shoulders back. Press into the tops of your feet. And we'll take this into a little side Sphinx. So left form at a 45-degree angle. Bring your right fingertips back behind you and look over your right shoulder. You might stay here working on pushing your right hip bone to the mat, or you can add on with a little quad stretch, reaching back. So really important here, there should be no pain in your lower back. If it feels like pinching or compression, you're going way too deep into the pose. Think of opening and lifting, lengthening out. And let's release. We'll switch to the other side. Right form bends, left fingertips beside you. Look over your shoulder and really push that left hip down before reaching back. Grabbing a hold of your foot if you'd like and drawing that in. So I'm almost pressing my pubic bone into the floor in order to minimize the compression on my low back. And let's release the hold of this. And we're gonna press back, this time coming into a wide-legged child's pose. Big toes go together, knees as wide as you would like them to be. The wider they are, the more intense this is going to feel through the hips and through the inner groin. Stretch out long. So you're trying to melt and press your hips back towards your heels while relaxing your belly, letting gravity do the work for you. And let's start to walk the hands in so we can lift, and we'll find our first downward facing dog. So hands shoulder width distance apart, feet are about hip width distance apart or so. Tuck your toes under and lift your hips up and back. And we can bend one knee, straightening the other leg, pushing into that heel, just to start stretching into our ankles, into our calves, into the hamstrings and the back of your knees, just paddling out the feet in any way that feels good to you here. Don't worry about whether or not your heels are touching the floor. Let's lift our heels up as high as they can go and ripple forward through to plank. Keep your toes curled under and just let your hips come down as you open up through your chest. So a variation of upward dog. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Let's do that twice more. Inhale into your back bend. Roll your shoulders back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Last one, inhale. And exhale, down dog. Right leg rises, bend your right knee, open up your hip, squeeze into your glutes, and this time see if you can push and get your left heel to touch the floor. Let's step the right foot in between our palms to the top of the mat. Back knee comes down to the floor, low lunge. Push into your feet as you lift up. So pressing and melting your hips forward and down. You might add a little back bend here by shifting your gaze up. Into your half splits, fingertips to the mat, straighten that right leg. So some people like to stay up. This is a great variation. I just find it easier and also deeper at the same time if I sit on my back heel and fold, whichever one you'd like to take at home. A little bend in that right knee is totally fine. Take one more full deep breath and we'll start to bend Once more here, and now tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee off the floor, and shorten your stance a little bit so that you can ground your back heel into your pyramid pose, folding over towards your right knee. And changing our pyramid pose a little bit, you're going to bend into both knees, and then go ahead and straighten and flex your right foot. So we'll do that a few more times. So inhale, bend into the knees. Exhale, stretch and flex your front foot. Twice more, inhale and exhale. Last one, inhale, bend. Exhale to stretch. Start to bend into your front knee, plant your palms, downward facing dog. And maybe you hang out here, you can take a vinyasa, inhaling to plank. Exhale, lowering down. Cobra, really feel the opening. Exhale, downward facing dog. And this time, left leg rises up, bend your left knee, open up your hip, and really think of pushing your right heel, getting it in contact with the mat. Try to get your left knee to be the highest point before stepping that foot through for your low lunge. So back knee comes down to the floor. Push into the lower body in order to lift up nice and tall. And you might choose to just stay here, or you can add a back bend. So really making sure that there is never any pinching or any pain in your lower back. And let's transition to our half splits. Option one, you're just straightening that front leg and staying up high on your fingertips, or you might sit on your back heel before folding down. So really working our full body flexibility in a pose like this. Forward folds, really wonderful for the spine. And obviously we're stretching the back of the legs pretty intensely. Try to relax your arms. And we'll start to lift back up. We're coming into our pyramid pose. So curl the back toes under, lift your back knee off the mat, and bring that foot in a couple inches just so you can ground both feet and fold on in. Trying to square your hips. So you're not opening up. This is not like a triangle pose. Everything should be facing forward. And inhale, bend both knees, lower down. Exhale, flex your front foot, stretching deeper into it. 3 more here. Inhale to bend, and exhale, curl those left toes in. Twice more. Inhale and exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Bend into both knees, downward facing dog. Maybe you stay here or you take your flow. Inhaling to plank, chaturanga, upward dog, downward facing dog. And let's reach our right leg up towards the sky. Same thing, bend your knee, open up your hip. And this time, let's find pigeon pose. Right knee goes behind your right wrist. Try to square off your hips so everything is facing forward, not rolling on one side. Option one is to do simply your pigeon pose, folding down. I'm going to incorporate thread the needle, so a little bit of spine flexibility as well, which is a twist. So left arm is going to thread underneath me, so that left shoulder and left ear can come down to the floor. Right hand can push into the mat to help you rotate a little bit deeper, or you can bring your right hand behind you, maybe even reaching and holding onto your heel. If you can't find it, don't worry about it. So lots of options in this pose. Really wonderful hip opener. You wanted a flexibility flow. And this is what we're doing. So let yourself have 5 more slow, steady breaths in this pose. If you were holding on to your heel like me, bring your right hand forward again. And we're just gonna come back up. So all lifting out of this pigeon pose and lean onto your right hip so that you can bring your left leg out in front of you. Seated twist, cross your left ankle over the top of your right thigh. Both sit bones down on the mat, everything facing forward. Into your twist, left hand back, open up. And keep trying to squeeze that left knee in towards your belly and see if you can straighten your spine a little bit more. And unwrapping to face forward, grab a hold of your left foot with both hands and see if you can straighten that leg up. Deeper into the hamstrings, roll your shoulders down and back. And bending into your left knee. Okay, from here into your standing splits, put the weight into your left leg and stretch your right leg up as high as it can go. So as you inhale, kick it up. And on the exhale, bend into your knees, tiny little ball, and open it back up again. Just one more like this. Squeeze and bend. And expand, reach it out even more. And just take a forward fold at the top of the mat. Feet are about hip width distance apart or so. Maybe holding on to your elbows and swaying a little bit side to side. Let's find Malasana or yogi squat, heels in, toes out, bend your knees. Use your hands to press your knees open a little bit wider. Lengthen out. And downward facing dog. Step your feet back and maybe you hang out here or you take your flow, inhaling to plank, chaturanga, upward dog. Downward facing dog. Second side, left leg rises, bend your left knee, open up your hip, really squeeze it up there. And pigeon pose, so your left knee makes its way behind your left wrist. Stretch your right leg back and try to square off your pelvis so you're not leaning on one side more than the other. Maybe you stay here and just fold directly forward, or you add your twist, right arm underneath you. Left hand can stay on the floor, or you can bring your left hand to reach towards your left heel. 5 slow breaths in this deep hip opener. Let's start to come out into our seated twist for spinal rotation. Roll onto your left hip and bring your right foot in front of you. You're going to cross your right foot over your left thigh. Really lift up nice and tall before initiating your twist. Right hand goes behind you, maybe looking over your right shoulder. Try to eliminate any rounding through your upper back. Facing forward, grab a hold of your right foot with both hands as you extend that leg up. And you can, of course, keep that knee bent. Into your standing splits, bend that knee. You're gonna step on the right foot to reach that left leg up as high as it can go. Big breath in here. And then exhale, bend and contract. Inhale, open it back up. Last one, exhale, squeeze it in. Inhale, reach it up. And release, forward fold at the top of the mat. And you might hold on to your elbows. You might sway a little bit. Into your yogi squat, heels in, toes out, lower down, hands at your heart. Really push to lift. Downward facing dog. You might stay here or take your flow. Plank through to chaturanga. Upward dog, big back bend here. Downward facing dog. And from this down dog, let's bring our knees down onto the floor and lift up. So you're on your shins. We'll come into camel pose. You can bring your hands back behind you. Think of squeezing your shoulder blades together as if your elbows were going to touch. Lengthen your tailbone down, pull your belly in and squeeze through your inner thighs. Then start to lift up and over. You're pushing your hips forward so they stay over your knees. And you might just stay here. If it feels good, you can always reach back for your heels. Maybe dropping the head. No pain in the low back. Tucking the chin to the chest. Let's come out, take an easy child's pose. So keep your knees pretty close together. Reach your arms back. And one counter pose I really like to do after big back bends is rabbit. So pretty much staying as you are, you can just hold onto your heels and see if you can rock a little bit onto the top of your head. So we're trying to get a big stretch through the posterior chain, through the muscles along the spine. And release. Let's just come to take a seat in a straddle fold. So open up your legs. And we'll begin in a side bend first. So reach your right arm all the way up and over towards your left leg. Roll your right shoulder back. So you're expanding here. Try to relax your neck, relax your head. As you inhale, come all the way back and we'll go to the other side. Left arm stretches up and over. Try to push that left sit bone down. Roll your left shoulder back. Soften your neck. Lifting back up. And now this time turn so you're facing towards your left leg and go ahead and fold on down. Maybe holding on to what you can. You can also just let gravity do the work for you, making this more of a passive pose. Inhale to lift back up and we'll go to the other side. So frame over towards your right leg before folding down. And lifting back up. And this time let's fold directly into the center. Three more deep breaths. And walk your palms in, lift. And you can use your hands to help the knees bend, bring the feet back in towards one another. And let's lower all the way down onto our backs. We'll take a laying spinal twist. So worrying a little bit less on flexibility now and more just a counter pose to help our body find a new sense of equilibrium and balance after those big flexibility poses. So your hips can go to the right, and you can cross your right thigh over your left before both knees drop down over to the left. And you can extend your right arm out. So we're trying to create as much space between the right shoulder and our right hip as we can. Make this more passive in nature. So letting go of effort. And let's come all the way back through to center. Uncross your legs. And we'll switch sides. So bring your hips over to the left this time. Cross your left thigh over your right. Both knees go down to the right. And see if you can keep your left shoulder blade in contact with the floor so your chest is facing up. Big breath deep into your belly. And let's lift all the way back up, uncross. And it might feel good just to do a little windshield wiper motion with your knees here. And before we make our way into Shavasana, our final resting pose, take up some space with your arms and your legs. Close your eyes and find some stillness here. So this was an intense flexibility flow. We really want to give ourselves a few minutes so that we can process and integrate all the hard work that we've done. This is your permission slip to do absolutely nothing. No need to plan or to rush to the next thing or to start working. Just give yourself the sacred pause to breathe and to observe. And start to deepen your breath, filling up your belly, filling up your chest, waking up a little bit as you wiggle through your fingers and through your toes, your wrists and your ankles. And we'll reach our arms all the way up overhead, big stretch before rolling to one side, taking a seat. Finishing our practice the same way we started, sitting up nice and tall. Roll the shoulders up, down and back. Hands at your heart. We'll close with the chant of Om. Inhale to chant. Big breath in. Namaste. Thank you so much, yogis. All right, yogis, I would love for you to click right here in order to sign up for my free 30-day morning yoga movement challenge. 10 minutes of yoga every morning for 30 days. Just click to sign up if you haven't already, and hopefully I'll practice with you tomorrow morning.